Namaste, beautiful earthlings, fellow earthlings. Although today I am going to speak from my Andromedan self at times, just to bring in the higher codes when it comes to what we need to eat in terms of supporting our ascension journey. This video will be talking about veganism, meat eating, all those things that are very controversial. And I'm doing this video because I've been asked so many times to please comment on this. It's something I guess I'm personally a bit resistant to because there are so many rules and protocols and conflicting information and angst. That's the main reason I haven't spoken to this publicly as yet, because there's so much angst in the collective about what we should or shouldn't eat, and vegans are wrong and meat eaters are wrong, and there's so much judgment. And really, that's all got to be left behind. We actually need to go inward, find a space and a place deep in our heart and in our psyche and in our consciousness where we receive our own insight into what eating habits are going to sustain us, nourish us, and elevate us in terms of our coding system, in terms of our frequency. Now, I do not like the word diet. If you were to break it down, it's die-T. The T in hieroglyphics represents the man, like the cross, the T, arms out. So it's die man or die T, that aspect of, maybe the Christ consciousness, we could even look at it as. So we're not doing a diet. There's no protocol here for any of us. However, I will speak from a more galactic perspective about what actually happens here in this realm. At the moment, we are in a third dimensional, fourth dimensional at times, if you're proficient in going into astral planes, because we're all there when we dream, aren't we? But more so, I guess, for sake of simplicity, we're in a 3D realm. We're in a realm of form and matter. We're in a polarity realm. We therefore will make things right, wrong, good and bad. It's just the nature of a polarity realm. So we are asked, when we're moving into ascension, to move out of right and wrong, good and bad. Something is not right or wrong for us. It's either aligned for us or it's not. That's a fifth dimensional way to express what is truth for you. We have to become impeccable with our language as we move. This is what ascension is. We're moving out of certain language, polarity language that we have used for so long. If we want to enter into a fifth dimensional frequency bandwidth of unconditional love and unconditional acceptance for what is, we must work through what is aligned for us. Now, it must be said at the outset that many beings are not moving into the fifth dimensional frequency bandwidth. Mother Gaia, Earth, is moving in that way to upgrade her consciousness. It's evolution. It's part of our cosmic heritage. All planets will ascend. That's just the way that it is. We're coming to the end of a galactic cycle, or you can see it in terms of the astrology wheel. Doesn't matter how you view it, this is what's happening. Certain inhabitants on Earth are going to move with her into that upgraded frequency bandwidth. It's not right, it's not wrong, it's not good, it's not bad. It's either aligned for you or it's not aligned for you. If it's not aligned for you, you're going round into a copycat Earth D-scape that seems like Earth, looks like Earth, feels like Earth. That's a third dimensional planet because your soul as yet is not ready for that leap in consciousness. That's just where we find ourselves on the continuum, and the continuum is never ending. So you can't judge anyone as being wrong if they are needing and choosing at a soul level anyway to move through another galactic cycle in the 3D. So then we've got to look at, well, what's happening in terms of when we eat in the 3D? How does that transfer into frequency, into energy, into vibration within our being? We're in an age where the vegans have really run rampant, and I've been one of those vegans. I've been one of those judgmental vegans. So I know that it comes from a need to be superior. It comes from a need to feel that you found an argument that no one can beat you on. Oh, how could I not be wrong? You can't harm animals. They're sentient beings. And yet we can be harmful in our attitude to others, in the way that we treat them. And yet at the same time we're espousing we're not harmful to animals, but we're harmful to our fellow human being. Everything is energy, everything is frequency. Animals and ourselves actually never die. So it's not about whether you eat animals or not, it's the frequency, it's the vibration, if you choose to eat animals, of the animals that you're eating. Was there torture involved? Was that animal mass raised? Was it cruelly raised? Was it slaughtered in a way that frightened that animal? Do you want to participate in that? Or if you choose to eat animals, is there a way to source that animal sustainably? And I can already hear in the cosmic wavelengths the vegans getting upset that I've said that. But we are not here to judge anyone else's path. And we have to scale it back and we have to look at our heritage. If you've come from the Atlantean template, you were no doubt eating animals. And I'll tell you why. Because, and this is where I'm going to go a bit galactic on you, in order to land, in order to bring the vibration into the 3D of form and matter, flesh, eating of flesh will keep you tethered to the 3D. It's a dense coding system. Everything is codes when it comes to your food. You want to eat light codes, you're looking at fresh, raw fruit and vegetables. It keeps you in an ethereal state. I'm a 25-year yoga teacher. We call it sattvic. It keeps you in a sattvic state. But it means that sooner or later you will detach from the mainstream and you'll probably want to go meditate on a mountain or in the forest. That's not necessarily right, but it may be aligned for you. And it's not wrong if you don't choose that path. It may not be aligned for you and where your soul trajectory or your soul consciousness is currently at. Would I say that eating raw fruit and vegetables lifts your frequency? Absolutely yes, because it's light codes. It clarifies the system. It makes your eyes sparkly and your skin glow. It releases all the toxic chemical structure that we've been taking in from the non-food. Now that's another area that we have to look at. Is non-food aligned with you? I'd have to say, if I can make any kind of rule, which I can't, stay away from the non-food. Stay away from the factory food. Stay away from the chemically processed food. Stay away from anything with the preservatives. Stay away from something that really has no life force in it. But if you can't stay away from it, observe how you feel when you have it. That's part of going through the false matrix. Eat the false matrix food. Discover what it does to you. And I mean, really pay attention. Really pay attention to what it does to your mind, to your emotions, to the state of health, to whether you feel sluggish immediately or whether you feel like you could get up and dance. What are the codes doing to you? Because everything is codes. So then we go back to whether we're going to choose to eat animals or not. What are the codes that are coming in from that animal? Now let's just say that you managed to get really beautifully farm raised, really beautiful codes within that animal. That animal was looked after, that animal was nourished, nurtured whilst it was alive. That animal became a conduit system, if you like, in tandem with you, meaning that if you look at the Avatar movie, that animal wants to give of its life force to you. That animal is serving you, and often animals are here to do that. You look at your pets, they will reflect your energy, they will reflect your health. So we can't say that that's wrong for animals, because that's just part of who they are. And many animals, or we could go as far as to say all animals, are here to serve humans, as well as humans are here to serve humans. We're all here to serve each other in a collective eco state where we all can serve each other and maybe become food for each other. Animals eat animals. You can't say that God got that wrong. You cannot say that Gaia, Mother Nature, got that wrong. That's the way that it is. And people will say, well, humans, should have a higher level of consciousness. We don't need to eat animals to sustain ourselves. People say we don't have the teeth to eat animals, and yet people can chew meat. They can. It's a fact. And people can thrive off eating meat. But what are the codes if you do choose to eat animals? So if you're going to, say, eat pork, and that pork is, the codes are good in terms of the way that that animal was raised and that animal was slaughtered, do you then need pig codes every single day running through your body? And if those pig codes, like we know from a galactic perspective, eating flesh, like the Atlanteans did because they had a reason to do so, keeps you tethered to a 3D realm, how much of those codes do you want to ingest? It's your choice, it's your truth, it's your knowing. This video is just going to open up some areas that maybe you haven't explored, some questions, or as we call it in yoga, our Jnana yoga is like the self-inquiry. Oh, okay, who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing? What are these codes that I'm taking in via food? What are those pig codes? Cow codes? Chook codes? Lamb codes? Goat codes? Some people eat horse codes. Croc codes. Plenty of people eat crocodile. What are those codes doing? How are they becoming me? Because you will become what you eat. Do you need that crisscrossing of codes in your body? Do you need to eat bacon for breakfast, a chicken sandwich at lunch, and then a steak for dinner? Because then you've had pig, chicken, and cow codes all in one day, and then you might do it again the next day. Now, again, I can't say what's aligned for you or not, but chances are me framing it in that way, you'll go, okay. Because your body and your mind and your consciousness is having to integrate those codes all the time. Or could it be that if you do choose to eat meat, how often do you need those codes? And do you need them for a specific purpose? And I'll tell you an interesting story because I don't really eat meat. I just don't. It's not something I've ever been drawn to. I grew up on a dairy farm where, we slaughtered our own cows, and my sister and I used to help pack meat, into those plastic freezer bags, and we'd have the freezer full of food. I've lived that life. And I never wanted to eat meat naturally. Now, that's just me. You might need to eat meat naturally, and that's fine. That's aligned for you. But it comes down to codes. How often do you need those codes? So I recently moved to Vanuatu. I'm in Australia at the moment. I'm going between Vanuatu and Australia as something that I'm doing, creating a new earthscape there in Vanuatu for myself and hopefully for others that will join me at some point. When I arrived, I got a very strong psychic message from one of the chiefs. Chief is the word in Vanuatu for king, if you like, or they've got so many tribes still. They live in a really indigenous and native way. And if you are a chief or a queen, you have gone through certain initiation processes. One of them, to be a chief, is to actually be able to kill a boar with, not just with your own hands, but I guess with your own prowess with a knife. It is very ritualistic, and there's a purpose to it because you have to have that coding and that strength to be able to be seen as a chief. So I had a spirit chief drop in, a chief that had crossed over, came in, and for anyone who knows me, I'm very psychic, came in and told me I needed to eat cow in order to land in that space. In order to move country, I needed to land there. I needed to become part of the land there. Now, that's quite alarming to me because I don't want to eat meat. I don't want to, but I did. And I can tell you that the cows there are raised in paddocks or, just left to roam, and everything is very sustainable. Everything is organic there. All the food is organic there, unless you're in the supermarkets getting the packaged food. But if you're at their markets or buying from their butcheries, everything is organic. And so I allow myself to have that meat. And a couple of things that it did, it helped me to land there, helped me to ground there. It got me tethered to that portal, that 3D portal, that realm that is Vanuatu. but it also carried me back into my childhood. Every time that we used to eat our own cows and that distinctive flavour of mince. And I had all this memory come up, and it really helped me connect to my inner child and who I am now and what my purpose is and why I came to have this lifetime in the first place and what my specific mission was about. So it served a really heightened purpose in that sense. But for the most part, I don't choose to eat meat. And as I'm making this video, I am currently going through a raw fruit and vegetable cleanse. And I can tell you, I'm 3 days into it and I feel so amazing. I had congested lungs before I went into that cleanse, and just immediately my lungs cleared up. So, of course, eating those light codes, as I call them, fruit and vegetables, particularly raw fruit and vegetables, will increase your light codes, will help you to balance out in terms of your health and your frequency and your vibration. But I am never going to be the person to tell you that that is all that you should eat. And that might alarm some of the raw foodists. It might alarm some of the people who are really helping others with their health protocols. And if that is aligned for you to have your health assisted by practitioners who will give you a more disciplined, I was going to say dogmatic, but I don't want to put a negative spin on this, a more disciplined approach, and their protocol is raw fruit and vegetables and everything else creates toxicity, and you're aligned to what they're teaching, please go with that. This video is not about right, wrong, good or bad. This video is to awaken you to what you're aligned to and to help you to understand that food really is a coding system. What codes do you choose to take in? How are you choosing to support yourself? Are you evolving into a pig code if you just eat bacon and ham and pork sausages all day, every day? And some people do, and they literally become like pigs. Now, I'm not putting pigs down, I absolutely love pigs, but it's a frequency, it's a vibration. We're humans, we're not pigs. Where are we going? Do we sometimes need those pig codes? Absolutely. For some of you, yes. For others, no, you'll never need it. But have an awareness of how you are interacting with nature. And for the hardcore vegans out there, you need to remove the sense that you are superior because you don't harm animals. You are being harmful if you are to animals, and we're talking the insect creatures and Mother Earth herself, if you are eating a lot of soy and a lot of wheat products, which a lot of vegans do. They are eating faux meat all the time. It's chemical factory food. There is no life force in it. If you are having a vegan faux chicken schnitzel, that I would say coding-wise is a much denser, much more toxic frequency than actually having a chicken schnitzel. But then that chicken might have been tortured. And so I hope I'm starting to make sense to you now. Can you see where your food came from? Can you see the frequency in your food? Do you want to take that frequency into your body? How does that code become you? We can never be reductionists, meaning we can never reduce our health and our consciousness all the way down to what we eat. That's, so many people will tell you that. No, it's never about that. It's never about that, but it is a big part of it. If you are healing, if you're on an ascension journey, there's so much more that goes into it. There's whether you're doing your inner child healing. It's whether you are learning not to be the people pleaser maybe that you've always been and letting yourself be siphoned by everyone. It's whether you're able to speak your truth. Is your throat chakra open? Are you so scared what people are going to think of you? Oh, so I won't really say what I want to say. Even about food, I'll just agree with everyone. Are you meditating? Are you doing deep breath work? Are you moving in a conscious way, whether it's yoga, dance, gardening, skipping, running, swimming, whatever it is, drumming? Are you moving life force and frequency through you? Everything is a code. And if you see it through that lens, and if you know that you have free will, you have absolute free will in this realm, God gave that to you. It's such a gift to choose where to align and to choose what codes you want to take in, and you remain the commander of your own ship. You are the commander, not anyone else, not what, oh, but Carrie, what do you think about that? Because if you say it's okay, then I'll do it. Maybe it is, maybe we're aligned, maybe we're not. Oh, I used to think Carrie was good, but then she said, oh, you can eat animals. I don't like her anymore, she's fake woke, she's false light. Maybe I am. Maybe I am for you, maybe I am. And for someone else, they're like, oh, thank God someone spoke the truth. So it's not whether you agree even with me. I am just holding up a mirror for you. I am just allowing you to see that you're the commander of your reality. And yes, your choices, whether it's food or any other choice that you make, has a neural feedback system in terms of your thinking self, but it has a feedback system in terms of how the universe treats you. And when I say universe, that's the aspects of self, you, treating yourself. Sometimes the universe, yourself in a highest quantum dimension, kicks you fair up the butt to wake you up. And you're like, why am I being punished? Why am I being punished by life? But it's you waking yourself up. And yes, it gets very rough here in the 3D. And yes, sometimes we have to gnash our teeth and pull our hair out and go, why? Why? It's so challenging, so very challenging. But everything is a feedback system to ourselves. That does not mean that we are fully responsible for the Dark Lords that are out there creating chaos in this realm. We're not personally responsible, but as the Andromedan self that I am, and the big download I received and wrote about the other day, is that if we have a shared responsibility for all of the chaos here, not a personal, but a shared collective responsibility, then in that shared and collective responsibility, we will find a solution through. We will find our way to upgrade. We will find our way to move into that fifth dimensional or higher for some people here, frequency bandwidth. So we allow ourselves to take responsibility, because if you're not responsible, then you're a victim. And if you're a victim, it's random. Anything can happen to you at any time. You have no power, you have no control. But if there's a shared responsibility, at least if you can get to that point, then you have the power. You are the commander. You are at the helm of your ship, and you steer it to where you want to go. And you accept that in a 3D polarity realm, those Dark Lords that, if we go back to the food, what they've done to food, the non-food, the toxic food, the supermarket food, the food on the shelves, what they have done has diminished our health so much that we're nearly operating like 1D beings, automated, robotic, taking our pharmaceuticals to try to overcome what we ate, getting upset if anyone says you should eat fresh fruit and vegetables. Oh no, this is the way we've always done it, and I'm not giving up, I like that. That's my only treat at the end of the day. And even the old recipes. And I want to say about the old recipes of cultures, I think I'm seeing all the beautiful European cultures and all the recipes that have been passed down. There's love in those recipes. And sometimes there's that need, I guess, or that alignment then to sometimes eat that food, even though it may include some meat. Because there's love, there's history, there's energy that's coming through from maybe your great-grandma. So sometimes it's aligned. There's a great yogi story about a beautiful yogi master who went to someone's house for dinner, and he was strict vegetarian. But they were not aware, and they served him meat. And he had a moment where he's like, I can reject this or I can eat this. What's the higher code here? The higher code was to eat the beautiful meal that these people had so lovingly prepared. They were so excited this yoga master was coming around. They'd spent hours in the kitchen. He ate the meat. He blessed the meat, he ate the meat, because it would have been rude not to. And so the higher code was to be very honouring of those people. So again, there's never right or wrong, good nor bad. There's only what's aligned. There's only what's the highest way through in any now moment. And sometimes we don't take the highest way through. But that's also necessary because that's how we learn. So that is my video on eating for ascension. It may have confused you more, or hopefully it's clarified everything for you and it's given you the power. It's given you the power. But if it helps, see things in terms of codes. Light codes, death codes. I'm not saying death codes are wrong, but how many of those death codes do you need? Or can you get a sense of how life light-giving codes via food are going to make you feel, think, vibrate, change your health, change your consciousness, get you into alignment to upgrade into that fifth dimensional frequency bandwidth. So I'm sending you all much love and be aware of those codes. Mwah. Namaste.